fabulous book friends, welcome back to another video, and today I am wrapping up my January for you, so let's get right into it. So if you've seen my January TBR video, I used a random number generator to kind of help me choose my books for the month. However, I think I actually only read 2 of them. The other 4 I didn't get to read, but actually I am reading one of them right now, and that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I made the mistake of starting it really late at night, and then I stayed up extra late because it's so good, and I am shocked that I love it so much. I'm a first-time fantasy reader, I guess, in years, so like I'm not an expert at all, or I don't like read the genre, but like this is really good. So anyways, that is the state of my January TBR that I had posted before. I'll link it down below in case you want to see it. It's a lot of fun. But my next video will be my February random number generated TBR video, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, so of course January was a long month. I actually read 7 books, which I'm shocked. I didn't think that I'd be able to do it, considering that a couple of these are big, I mean, to my standards, but yeah. So what I'm gonna do for you guys today is I'm literally just gonna give you like a really quick review of what I thought of the books, and if you want to go ahead and see the description, I will link their Goodreads pages down below so you can check them out and also read my thoughts on them. Okay, so the first book I read in January was The Mystery of Mrs Christie by Marie Benedict. If you watched my random number generator TBR video and my December book haul video, you would have known that I was very excited for this book. So I decided to read it first, and let's just say I'm glad I got it out of the way, because this book was so, I don't know, it was boring. There wasn't really much going on as I expected it to be. Like, it was more of a personal drama more than anything, so I didn't really get like the mystery thriller aspect of this book. I read it in a day, which that should say something, because I like to devour my books, but the fact that I was just reading it so fast, it's just like I was just hate reading it by the end. So yeah, it's not, I mean, I know people love this book, so I'm definitely probably in the unpopular opinion, but I couldn't get into it. The characters were blah. A few of Agatha Christie's actual books, like their plots were kind of ruined in this book, so like that's not a big deal to me because I was not planning on reading them at all. But if you plan on reading Agatha Christie books, I'd start there. I wouldn't start reading this book because they will get ruined for you. But other than it just being a pretty cover, like, yeah, I think I gave it like 2 stars, and I've already forgotten about it. So the second book I read in January was North of Dawn by Nuruddin Farah, which, holy crap, I gave 4.5 stars. It was so good. The writing and the editing though, like sometimes the writing style, it did get a little clunky at times, and I did have a hard time kind of getting into it and like kind of distinguishing like certain parts in the plot, because like at times there would be jumping back and forth between timelines, and it was a little confusing because there was no like clear section break or little break or pause or something in between. So that was a little jarring at first and for quite a while. But then also, not only that, there was a few editorial mistakes, couple spelling mistakes here and there. So like, yeah, that did suck, but I mean, the story and the characters were good enough for me to give this 4.5 stars. I think it's an amazing book. Yeah, so if you can read this, please read this. It is so good. I just really liked it. And it's not like, this is one of the longer books I read, but like it doesn't feel that long. Like, it was pretty good. It was a good pacing. So yeah, definitely highly recommend this book. Okay, so the third book I read was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. A bit of a slower paced novel than I was expecting or hoping to read. I'm not a fan of slow paced novels, but just like this one with Addie LaRue, I just like the characters and the story make up for it. So I didn't take like stars, or I didn't let that kind of give me a negative outlook on the book, just because like the characters speak for themselves. I think it was really well done, and this is a book that you would definitely want to reread in the near future, or like in a few years from now. like, it's just one of those books that is going to stick with you for a long time. So yeah, I also recommend this one. But also, if you do like genuinely hate slow-paced novels, then yeah, definitely don't read this. Okay, book number 4 is Revenge of the Sluts by Natalie Walton. Um, I gave this book 3.5 stars. 3 stars or 3.5? I don't know. But it was good. I think with this book though, it's more like, I feel like even though it's written for YA, or like teenagers or high school kids, I feel like it's more targeted towards like the librarians and just school teachers in general. I feel like they would be reading this book and thinking, oh, this is great for my kids. But then when the kids read it, they're not like, yeah, it's a good story for them, but like they wouldn't go to a bookstore and pick this up, if that makes sense. Like, I think the target audience is just specifically for those people who make the decisions to put this book on a course list or something. So it was good, but like I just couldn't get past that fact that like I'm not the target audience for this, and is this really a book that anybody would pick up in a bookstore unless like they really loved the cover? So yeah, I don't know. It was still good though, and it still had an important lesson that could be learned, but I just think if you do want to read this, I would probably borrow it. I wouldn't buy it. So yeah, those are my thoughts though, but yeah, I mean, it's still a great book, and I do think it's worth the read if you're like actually in high school or just a little older than that. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I don't know. It was missing something, and I don't know what. Okay, book number 5 was Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. Again, another book that I was like so excited to read, but then it's just like, like I didn't connect with it. I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I still say to this day that I was probably in a bad mood when I read this book. It's got, so the 2 main characters are really quirky. I think it's just sometimes quirky characters or overly quirky characters are just not my thing. So yeah, it's just like, this was such a huge miss for me. But oh well. I mean, I could appreciate the characters and what they stood for, but like the story itself, whatever. Wow, this is a really like below average reading wrap up. Okay, it only gets better from here because the last 2 books that I read in January were 5 stars. They were both so amazing. So the first one was for my buddy read that I co-host on Instagram with Anne at Reading for the Weekend, and that was The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. This book, I know it's not for everybody. However, I think it was great. It was such a great adventure story. Like, you really felt like you were going on this adventure with the characters. It was really great. I think it was well written. Yeah, there were quite a few characters, and yeah, it did get a little confusing at times, but oh my god. Also, I should say the first half of the book is pretty slow, but like we're also kind of building up to this epic finale, which was great. The ending might not be what you expect. However, I do think that when I compare it to another book that I was expecting a different ending on, this one did it a lot better. So yeah, if you've read this book and you're curious what book that I'm kind of comparing this to, let me know, and like let me know in the comments, or just DM me on Instagram at ReadingMaria, and yeah, I'll tell you, but because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, so I do think that if you're looking for something really different to read, and if you just want something that is kind of like a mix of a few different genres, then definitely please check this out. Yeah, I loved this book, and I gave it 5 stars, like I said, because it was amazing and it deserves 5 stars. And I cannot wait to read his other book, which is somewhere up there. I don't know where. There's a lot of books up there, but it's fine. I will definitely be reading that this year for sure. And the last book that I read, which if you've watched my reading vlog, you would know, it is Gutter Child by J.L. Richardson. I do want to say, although it's marketed for adults, I do think that it is more for like the teenager slash kind of like 20-ish year olds audience, just because the main characters are that age. So like, it just makes sense that that would be the target audience. But yeah, if you are looking for a book that explores institutionalized racism or colonialism, then yeah, this is definitely a great book for you to read. Again, this is also another book that I can see being targeted more towards teachers or like school librarians, and like them adding this book onto their list, because like we all know that the school reading lists, especially in high school, are disgustingly old and white. So I do see this as being a new resource for teachers. But unlike Revenge of the Sluts, I think that this is definitely also more geared towards a general audience. Like, it's not just for those teachers or librarians or whatever. Like, it's also written in a way that anybody can read it. If that makes sense, I hope it does. So there you have it, a super quick wrap up for you. Yeah, so I'm actually shocked that I read 7 books, like I said. So yeah, definitely my favorite of the month. If I had to choose right now, I would definitely struggle with this, and I would just choose these two, The Gutter Child and The Devil in the Dark Water, just because they were both 5 stars, and these both were such a great way to end off my reading month, because hello, like, that was amazing. It started off a little rocky, then it got good, and then it just kind of like dipped below average in the middle, and then it just went back up. So I feel like I'm on a super good kind of reading streak right now, especially now that I'm reading Shadow and Bone and I'm loving it. So I have high hopes for February. But yes, I will definitely be doing my February TBR video now, so you guys can see that and see what books that I'll be reading. Which actually, if you must know, my must-reads are hiding right here. So I ran out of room, I didn't know where to put them, so I just put them there. But yeah, okay, I will stop talking now. And yeah, so let me know what your favorite book of January was. And yeah, don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you for my next video, which is gonna be so much fun to film. I cannot wait. All right, see you after.